Alright, so I was going through a decade-old Oak Hill Academy game with Kevin Durant, and I found a pretty interesting three-angle, two-hand dunk and landing by Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant played for Oak Hill Academy. Ty Lawson was in this game, various other NBA players. If you guys don't know about Oak Hill Academy, Oak Hill was like NBA factory. What Derrick Rose went here, Rondo went here, etc., etc. Like they have wild amounts of NBA alumni every year. Now, I think that looking at a 10-year-old clip is somewhat useful as it explains why Kevin Durant has maintained and not gotten injured despite being so skinny and lean, and Greg Oden has gone down despite being so strong, as it allows us to look at how the player has been playing. And what we see here is a pretty interesting and really bouncy landing that could be better, but is also pretty damn good. First thing to think about is Kevin Durant's reach at even this time has got to be around 9 feet. So he's only dropping about 12 inches to the ground, which is barely any, which means the kind of impacts he's getting and the kind of impacts Derrick Rose are getting for putting his head to the rim are not very much. As I remember, Kevin Durant's draft combine stats were his standing vertical was about 24 inches or something like that. So he doesn't need to jump high, and he doesn't land from very high either. However, we see a pretty good landing regardless, even though it's about a 12-inch drop. We're seeing him come down and act the part of the bouncy ball. Like, I feel that if you look at physics, you look at ideal landings, it makes sense. We want to be a bouncy ball. We want to not be a rock, which means if we're coming straight down from the rim as Durant is, what's next? We want to bounce straight back up, right? Well, maybe the ideal here would be we hit the ground and we continue our descent to the ground while slowing, and then use our elastic muscles to spring back up, and we would call that a squat landing. However, if you're not able to do a squat landing, I think it's pretty reasonable, especially if you're only dropping from about 12 inches. What we see Kevin Durant do here is basically a calf raise landing. You see he gets zero depth, no depth, does not bend his knees at all, strictly having his strong feet and strong lower legs here, but that works totally fine. I mean, it's not ideal, but it's close to ideal. And what we see here is Kevin Durant definitely has the mental philosophy of, okay, I'm going down, next I want to go up. And you can just see it. You can just tell that it's conscious. Bam, he hits the ground and jumps, right? And this is what you should be thinking when you hit the ground. How can I continue my force? How can I rebound my force? How can I minimize the amount of impact in my body that will allow me to 10 years from now have 3 scoring champs, and maybe 10 years from now have a couple rings. We'll see how he does with that, but I just thought it was a great clip, real gold mine to find, and just show that Kevin Durant is weak, he is skinny or whatever you want to call him, but the guy is pretty smart with his body. I would not call him reckless, and he could get injured now and disappear forever, and he would still have had a hell of a career. So just some things to keep in mind, and expect more stuff like this from me. Not all the time, but sometimes. I like to look at old games, I like to analyze landings, I like to analyze NBA players. Helps me train, helps me spread information about what the pros are doing and what I think is appropriate to do. So peace out, everyone. Happy training to all. Do what you can to avoid injuries, and peace.